This episode is brought to you by Snap Guam Studios. Film photography is making a comeback on Island. One of the questions I get ever since I started film photography is where I get my roles developed. Snap Guam is a Guam based photography and videography studio that offers film development and scanning services. They also have a variety of different film stocks like Kodak Gold and my favorite, Portra 800. Want to start getting into film photography? They also sell film cameras from SLRs to rangefinders and disposables. Get your film developed by Snapguam Studio today. Contact them on Instagram at snap.film.record_gu. Sinky clap. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the Dusto Dom podcast. I am your host, Don Sulat, and thank you for tuning in. We are solo for tonight. It's a nice change of pace and nice little recap of what we talked about in the past 3 episodes. Again, special shout out to Miss Moonlit Thea, DJ Pogi, and Evander de Guzman for hopping on as the first 3 guests of the Dusto Dom podcast. Uh, Tonight's episode, or this episode, is a little more heavy compared to what I normally talk about. Uh, Usually I like to keep it light-hearted, but recently, with the way my routine has been, I've noticed this. It could be the season after speaking to some of my friends, but it's kind of lonely lately. Like people don't talk about the lonely aspect of being a creative. Like if you follow me in the socials, it doesn't look that way because I'm usually out and about. But really, like I don't hang out with my friends as much as I used to anymore. Uh, we're all adults now. We're all entering our mid to late 20s. And no slight to anybody, we're all getting busy. Some are starting families. Shout out to my best friend, Jen. She got married in New Jersey recently. No money, so I couldn't go. Uh, Maybe if they renew their vows, I'll come up eventually. But yeah, it was being an adult. My first ever vlog on YouTube, I titled it "Being an Adult is Lonely." But I was kind of used to that because everyone has their own schedule. But the one thing I didn't get used to was the lonely aspect of being an entrepreneur and being a creative, uh, and just doing your own thing. Really, for context, my schedule it's really mundane. Like contrary to what people think the job is, it's very rigid and very like every day is like Groundhog Day. So I wake up at like 6:30 in the morning, get ready, go to my day job. After day job, go home. I clock out like 5:30. Get home at 6. Work. Get ready, decompress for a bit, play with my dog, work out, eat, sleep, repeat Monday through Friday. And then sometimes I'll see my friends at the gym. Sometimes I'll see them on Discord. Sometimes we'll catch up on socials, but I don't really talk to them as much anymore. Um, Especially since I started the podcast. And when I started going out and trying to experience new things too, I don't really see my folks anymore, or my people anymore. And it's not a slight again to them. It's just we're adults, and uh, everyone's schedules is kind of tight. But really, for me at least, and what I was watching on YouTube, a lot of creative entrepreneurs, they usually go through a lonely process because as much as I like to bring my friends on and talk to them, usually what the trend is I notice at least on TikTok is a bunch of friends who have like conversations like on Discord. They're like, "Oh, this is great. We're dropping knowledge, we're dropping wisdom. We should start a podcast." As much as I like for that to happen, not everyone wants to be a podcast host. Not everyone wants to be on a podcast. Uh, yeah, even though we have fun conversations, it's very different once the camera turns on. And if they don't come to the podcast, we record for like 1 to 2 hours a night on Sunday. So that's 1 to 2 hours of my life dedicated to this. And that's 1 to 2 hours I'm not seeing my dad, or not talking to my dad, not talking to my friends, catching up with them. That's me dedicating my time here and talking to a camera. that cannot talk back to me. So this, I don't know. I think I low key think creative people, vloggers and podcasters, especially solo podcasters, especially low key might be schizophrenic because we're just talking to a camera who can't talk back. Back in my day as an anchor, it was easier to talk to the camera because I had a script, and sometimes I can ad lib, but really I'm just talking to a script, or I'm just regurgitating my script and talking to a camera and just delivering it. Now I'm riffing, I'm free flowing. I have some talking points in my head, but the camera can't talk back to me, man. Like I got the producer here, but he's making sure the sound is on and everything's recording and I don't go over time. But even if I vlog, solo vlog, I'm just talking to a camera and no one's talking back to me. So low key, no low key, high key, it gets pretty lonely. Like when uh I go out to take photos. Uh, I mentioned the first podcast, I like landscape photography more so. Lately, I'm trying to get into street photography, but I really like going out taking photos of like mountains, taking photos of the roads and everything. D-Day Studio 670. Follow me there. They I sponsor this podcast, so be sure to hit me up for photos. But I want to go. I like going on adventures, taking road trips, going down south, or uh, going to the southern part of Guam, uh, making taking photos. And using gas. Gas ain't cheap, so please use the Amazon affiliate links below. Support the podcast so I can take more photos and keep doing this. But yeah, like I like doing that. I try to bring my friend. I try to tell my friends to come on. Let's go on an adventure. Let's get lost. Let's do something, but they're tired and it's not their thing, and that's no fault to them, that's no slight to them, like as much as I want them to come along and experience these things with me, if they're not down, they're not down, and that's not their fault. I can convince them as much as I like, but that's not, if they're not feeling it, I can't blame them, man. Some of them get car sick, some of them don't take photos, and they're like, what are we gonna do, just walk? Just drive and talk. We can do that on Discord and not spend money. And I'm like, it's a change of pace, it's a change of scenery, man. Like, come on. But either I don't, either I wait for them and or try and convince them and I go, and that's a losing battle. Sometimes they'll come along depending on how persistent I am. But or I can go alone and just document what I'm experiencing and what I'm seeing. But it's nice to have someone there to experience it with you. But if you wait around for that, then you'll never get anything done. And that's that's something I'm coming to terms with recently. Like I'm an only child, so and for those of you who don't know, I'm an only child. If you couldn't tell from the stomach, I grew up eating pretty. Shout out to my mom and dad. They made sure I was always fed. But uh, being alone was never the hard part. It's feeling alone that's the hard part. I got so used to struggling in college with my friends when I came here. I got so used to me, my friends, we're struggling to find food, we're struggling to get money, we're struggling in school. It was like a bonding experience. And then when we entered our adult jobs, when we graduated from working retail to, being teachers, being managers, working in the media, like quote unquote big boy jobs, we were struggling together. It was like a good bonding experience. But as we all honed in and started having different, workplace friends, different interests, I got eventually it was just me. And that's the part that I'm trying to get used to, because you get so used to this routine, this of talking to people, and then all of a sudden they just dip and they're not out of your life. It's just you feel their absence, and kind of sucks. Uh, some of the videos I was watching, I can't quote the YouTube video right now, but they were saying uh find people who have the same hobbies, same niche as you do, and make friends with them, and you won't feel so lonely. But then you say that the first step is finding these people, and I'm at the point in my life right now where I don't really need new friends. I don't care for more people to enter my inner circle. Like, I'm cool, we can be friends, but like, okay, let me break that down. I kind of contradicted myself. Uh, and I think if David So, he's a comedian. He also has this podcast called Genius Brain. You should check that out. He said it best where you don't really need new friends. And I kind of agree with that. He's in the point of his life where he doesn't need new friends in his inner circle, but he's cool with people who just want to kick it and be friendly. I don't need people to like enter my close group. People who, if they call me at like 3 in the morning asking for a ride, I'll go. I'll pick them up. I don't. I'm not saying that to call me at 3 a.m. friends, but like if you're watching this, and you better be watching this, better be supporting me. I swear. But um, I'm not saying to call me, all right. But if you do and it's an emergency, I will come and pick you up. But I don't need any more of that in my life because my time is already stretched so thin, and everyone else's time is stretched so thin too. So just making a plan to meet up and eat dinner on my cheat days. If my coach is watching this, yes, I will hit you up when I for permission when I can have a cheat meal. But just making that plan takes like weeks to do. And we live in an island where it only takes like a 20-minute drive to see each other, 20 minutes in traffic. I don't need more people in my life that to spread that so thin. And it's kind of exhausting telling the same stories over and over again to new people. Like, yeah, I grew up in Saipan. Yeah, I'm an only kid. Yeah, I did the news. Repeat, repeat, repeat. I don't want to do that anymore. Like, if you're already in my life, in my close inner circle, great. If you find your way, I'm not saying that I'm gonna be this punk who's like, no, I'm too good for you. I'm not gonna. What I mean is, I'm not gonna actively search for new people to come into my life, and that's where this little catch 22 problem is. I'd like to have more friends who to do this hobby with, to do photography or videography with, but at the same time, like I'm more exhausted taking photos with strangers than I am with my friends because I can't show them the real me yet. I can't show them the degenerate Don Sulat. I gotta be tamed. I gotta watch my jokes. There's so I, I gotta put up like a little bit of a front. I'm not saying I'm being fake. I'm just saying I'm toning myself down a bit because I don't want them to see. I don't want to think I'm crazy. Kind of am. Again, I'm talking to a camera who can't talk back to me. Talking to you guys, but y'all can't talk back to me. All how many viewers of you? Shout out to all of you for watching. Again, I'm just a talking head. And I appreciate it. But at this present time, you can't talk back to me. So I don't know. I think being a creative, you're low key crazy. So there it is. They both start with C and R. Crazy creative. There we go. I think they coincide with each other. Another word that starts with C. But it's really lonely, man. Like really, you want someone to experience all of this. You want to talk about your hobby. I like talking about cameras. I geek out on cameras left and right. I'll be like, this camera shoots 4K, 10-bit 422. Most of my friends do not care about that unless they're already photographers or excuse me, unless they're videographers. And I'll be like, okay, this 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 camera I shoot on a Canon M50. Again, if you would like to purchase that, link in Amazon affiliate link down below. It supports me. Or if you're buying something off of Amazon, it doesn't have to be the gear I posted. Just use the link and buy it. I get a little kickback. Thank you. It's not a pay pro. That's a impromptu sponsor read. But like I'll be talking about, oh yeah, this camera right here. If you just pair it with this lens, it'll take this nice photo with a nice creamy bokeh depth of field. Most of my friends are like, you lost me there. So I'm like, man, I can't bond with you guys. I'll just be like, here's the photo. That's it. While everyone's talking, I remember, shoot. Thankfully, my friends are slowly getting into cameras. I think I don't know if I'm an influence, but it's nice to finally geek out with people. But it's hard too, because like these are the people you want to keep talking to. These are the people who will come to your wedding. Hopefully, I get married. These are the people you're bonding with, and you're investing your time and money into. So you want, and but they're not interested in the thing that you like, the thing that makes you so happy. So you're like, oh man, you have no one to talk to about it. And I think that's more lonely. That's more sad than just being physically alone. I'm cool. I'm chilling, just being in my room, shoot with even before I got my even I don't even I told people I got the dog because because the feeling of loneliness hurt when I came home and there was no one happy to greet me. But just physically being alone before minus that feeling, I'm cool with it. When my dog goes to the groomers, I'm just like, I'm cool. It's not lonely. It's just I'm just alone. And I think that feeling comes around when you had the most fun day and you go home and you have no one to share that with. And that's something that I'm slowly coming to realize as I grow older, that being an adult sucks. It's really lonely, man. Like I see my work people, my work friends more than I see my dog. I when I was in the media, I would work at 4 a.m. or I'll get up at 4 in the morning and then I'll get to the office by 5 and I'll clock out at 7 p.m. I saw that newsroom more than my bed. If I had a I tell people if I have a kid, my kid will ask my baby mama. I don't have a kid again, but if I had a kid at a time, that kid will ask my wife, my girlfriend, or the mom, why is the guy on TV always at home? He won't call me dad. He or she will not call me dad. Then my kid will say the guy on the TV. And why is he always at home? Why is he always in our house? Because that's how little I am at home. That's It's so lonely. Like I can't. No one can relate. I At that time I didn't have people to relate to that kind of struggle. Eventually, as my colleagues grew in their career, we bonded. We trauma bonded later on, but at the time when you're experiencing it, man, it really sucks. There's no one to relate to, and I think that's really the issue right now with me, at least. And maybe that's something you guys are experiencing too. Like they, you really feel alone. But hopefully, this message conveys to you that we're all going through something similar. And I'll talk a little bit more about that right after this quick break. This episode is brought to you by Snap Guam Studios. Film photography is making a comeback on Island. One of the questions I get ever since I started film photography is where I get my roles developed. Snap Guam is a Guam based photography and videography studio that offers film development and scanning services. They also have a variety of different film stocks like Kodak Gold and my favorite, Portra 800. Want to start getting into film photography? They also sell film cameras from SLRs to rangefinders and disposables. Get your film developed by Snapguam Studio today. Contact them on Instagram at snap.film.record_gu. This episode is brought to you by D-Day Studios. D-Day Studios is a local photography and videography service run by, well, me. And this is my podcast, so shameless plug. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at D-Day Studio 670 and send me a message if you want to take some bomb photos today. Again, that is D-Day Studio 670 on Instagram. Now back to the episode. Welcome back to the Dust to Dawn podcast. We had a nice short little intermission right there. And what I want to talk about is, if you look over here in the camera real quick for my YouTube viewers and for my audio listeners, I have salonpas on the right side of my neck. I have stiff neck as of this recording. My stiff necks used to go away like within like 2 hours when I was younger. Now that I'm in my late 20s, man, I've had this stiff neck since, shoot, right now as of this recording is 8 p.m. I've had it since I woke up at like 8 or 10 in the morning, man. This thing's not going away. That just shows that I'm getting old. Enjoy your youth, kids, if you're watching. But let me get real comfortable real quick. Sorry for my audio listeners. I got adjusted. We were talking about how lonely it gets being a creative, and you can apply that facet, that thinking of being lonely to just being an adult in general. Again, my first vlog, take a look at that. Being an adult's kind of lonely. That's the title. Um, but really, in to be a creative, like not every one of your friends likes what you're gonna do. Like they'll support you. I hope you surround yourself with friends who support you as a creative and what you're doing, especially because you are the brand, you're the entrepreneur. I hope you have friends who will support you. But it really sucks. Like all they can do is support you, but they don't want to join you on this journey that you are on. Like they may have a feature here and there. They might join in, have a cameo on your vlog, but you want them to like be a part of it. You want them to experience what you're experiencing, but they don't want to because it's not their thing, or they're shy. There's nothing wrong with that. But what can you do to help combat this loneliness? Because what most people don't see, they don't see you, if you're a vlogger, talking to yourself, talking to a camera as if it's replying back to you. Right now in my head, this camera is having dialogue. I need to get myself checked, maybe. But they don't see that. Most people don't see you just talking to the camera. Most people don't see you editing the videos. Most people don't see you editing the photos. That it's Most people don't see you having these sleepless nights, having to meet the deadline that you unfortunately set for yourself because you want to impress your new client. They just think that you're getting paid these big bucks, but they don't see the breakdown behind it. An example I'm going to give: as a wedding photographer, I don't like shooting weddings. I love weddings. I think it's a great thing, but I don't like shooting them because my back hurts and it's so much pressure. So, because I don't like it and because I've done it already, I've upped my prices. These are my current prices. And again, if you'd like me to shoot your wedding, D-Day Studio 670 on Instagram, you can hit me up there. But um and I promise I will like your wedding. I just don't like working so hard. At the end of the day, you want to make more money and work less. But again, I digress. Sorry, the ADHD. I need to get back on my meds. But here are my rates. I charge for a full day. This is getting ready, ceremony, and reception, $1,500. For my stateside listeners, you might think, "Oh my god, that's cheap." And again, my friend who recently got married, my best friend who recently got married, she's like, "That's really cheap because that's a full 8-hour workday." But here in Guam, or not even just here in Guam, those who don't know the process, you like that Scandinavian process, the process behind photographing weddings, they just think that you click a button. And to go back to my conversation with DJ Pogi, they just think you click a button and that's it, pansit. They don't see what the amount of time, the amount of how much you spend on the gear, and your skill set. So let me justify the $1,500 price range. And again, I can work within a budget. Just hit me up. I kind of need money right now. But but you're charging for an 8 hour. Typically, a wedding is more than 8 hours, probably 10, 12 hours. Because one wedding I did, shoot, the brides got ready at 6 in the morning, and my call time was 7, and the ceremony was at 4 p.m. They're my friends, so they let me sleep in the hotel. But like I'm tired. Okay, but minimum wage in Guam is $9.25. And let me pull up my calculator. So if I pay myself minimum wage for an 8-hour workday at $9.25, I would be making $74. That's how much I would charge if I think that my time is worth $9.25, which is not. So that's $74. My camera, again, if you'd like to purchase the camera, link in bio or link in the description. My camera is around, just the body is around $500. So already 1 gig paid off for the camera. But let's say it didn't. This is all, we're all saying this is brand new. That's $500. My lens, my lenses, actually, lens aren't cheap. The lens I'm shooting on this podcast with is worth more than the body at $700. Then we have the subscription service to edit the photos. I pay $20 a month for the Adobe subscription. That is Lightroom, Photoshop, and Premiere Pro. I should be using Photoshop more, but that's $20 a month. And at a year, that is, I'm bad at math, so $240, having the calculator out. Then we take all of that and my time to edit and cull through the photos. Because on a full wedding day, from getting ready, reception ceremony, you'll probably take around 3,000 photos. And there's another charge, my SD card, because you need to store those photos. My laptop, I need to edit the photos and look through the photos because I'm not going to give you 3,000 photos because a lot of them might be just duplicates because you're shooting on burst. Then I have to edit the photos. So if it takes me 40 hours total outside of the wedding, a full work week, a 40-hour work week at $9.25, that's $370 plus the $70 I made earlier. That's $440. That's a total of 48 hours alone. So that's assuming I charge myself minimum wage. They don't see that methodical thinking. Most people, even your friends, and by the way, if they're really your friends, they will not ask you for a discount. This is a controversial thing. I, as a photographer, videographer, do not tell my friends my real rate because they are my friends. But I do know that I know they understand I need to make money. But I will, if you are my friend, if you are someone who I will invite to my wedding, I will not charge you the full rate. But if you are my friend, and because I can call you that, I know, I'm not giving you the full number. If you're really a friend of someone, of a creative, of a photographer, videographer, singer, whatever, someone who you want to show up and do an act of service, you will not ask them for a discount. You can tell them your budget, just be like, what can I get for X amount of budget? That's fine. Because we get it. We have these conversations with clients all the time. But to say, if the first words out of your mouth is, let me get, how much discount will I get from your friend? You wouldn't ask that from a celebrity. You wouldn't, if you're buying, I don't know, an Essentials graphics hoodie for $70, you're not gonna tell the company, let me get a discount. Granted, you might hunt for the discount code. You're not gonna tell them that. But if your friend is charging $50, why are you going to say, let me get it cheaper when you're supposed to be supporting your friend, And most people don't understand how most people, and your friends included, don't understand that kind of thinking kind of bugs you because, again, you're doing this act of service. You're volunteering your time, your effort, your money, your equipment to somebody. And this is somebody who's supposed to support you from day one. It doesn't cost money to support your friend. You don't have to purchase my services. You could just share my photo. You could just share my video. Those are free stuff. But if you want to hire me and support me, why are you asking for a discount? That gets in my head like, oh wow, this person is just using me. Sometimes when I go to events, when someone asks me to go to an event, 9 out of 10 times I won't go if they say bring your camera. you might argue like, oh, Don, see, that's why you're kind of lonely because you're not going to these events. They're just asking you to bring your camera. But is that, but then when you put yourself in my shoes, now you're thinking, here's the new thinking, like, are they really your friends? Or are they your friends? Are they really your friends because they like you? Or are they your friends because they like your camera? Because of the services that you provide. If you don't tell me to bring my camera you're telling me come to this party, I'm gonna bring my camera anyway. I'm gonna bring my camera just because I'm gonna do this because this is your party and I want to document it and it's my passion. I'm gonna do it for free. But you tell me to do it, I don't want to do it anymore because now I think you just want me there. Take these photos, and that gets into your thinking. Like, you know what? I don't need more. Again, to bring it back to the earlier conversation, I don't need more friends because I don't need more. I don't need people in my life who just use me for my skills, whatever services I can provide. I'm not saying I'm the best. I'm not saying, you know, oh my gosh, I have all these people hitting me up. I'm not saying that. But there are people who have done that. I don't like that. And I don't think you should like that for yourself either. Because are they really your friend because of you, because they like you, or they like what you provide for them? That is a waste of your time. I would rather be alone. But again, that's a lonely thought because now you're thinking, it starts to get to your head that they just want to use you for what X reason. But not everyone's like that. And that's why it kind of sucks when you don't have time to, you know, when you and the people you consider your ride or dies, you don't have time to spend with them anymore or as much anymore. So I say that to say, Loki, again, it sucks being an adult. But the beauty of it, though, is the people who are in your inner circle, the people who you can call, who you wouldn't mind getting a call at 3 a.m. because they're a little balatsu and they had too much fun at zone, and you got to pick them up. It goes both ways. Those are the people when you're heartbroken because your ex brought her new man who looks like Sid the Sloth to a party. Those are people who will listen to you on Discord. Those are the people who will listen to your problems, listen to whatever BS that you got going on because you do that in turn for them. And that's eventually when you meet up with them. So, you know, even though it sucks that the routine, you have to adjust your routine now, or I have to adjust my routine. I have to realize that when I do meet up with these people, when I do see my friends again, these are the people who make it feel like time has never we never spend a time apart. And that's hella cliche. But I think that's something I need to speak into existence and realize to the world. And that's something I hope you guys. Oh my gosh, if you heard that, my knee popped again. I'm getting old, but I think that's something you guys need to realize as well. Because at the end of the day, people don't owe you your time. People don't owe you their time, and you don't owe them yours either. So even though it kind of sucks, it's kind of lonely. The way I'm trying to adjust my mindset, my way of thinking is that now a storyteller, someone who loves to talk, clearly I really love to talk. Again, I'm talking to a camera who cannot talk back to me. I'm talking to you guys who can only reply at a later time in the comments. And if you like this episode, be sure to leave a comment and like down below and shop my Amazon links. And, you know, oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. Oh, there we go. I brought it back. Um, I say that all to say it's okay to have these feelings. It's okay to feel lonely. Your feelings are valid. But there you should also find a way to adjust that thinking. Now that I like to say I'm a storyteller. Uh, I love telling people, and this is another one of my many tangents. One project I want to do is bring some photographers in and talk about their favorite photos that they took. I stole this from Peter McKinnon. Again, I'm not ashamed to be a called of Peter McKinnon fanboy. But now my way of thinking that I'm trying to adjust is as I'm experiencing all of these things, all these new things from uh, waking up at 3 a.m. to take a photo of the moon and the stars because it's the best time, or going to see my favorite local band alone and bumping into other fellow emo rock people and taking photos and vibing with them, uh, to making these podcasts, making vlogs, making videos as I build up these life experiences, these stories to tell. When I finally hang out with my people again, my friends, I can tell them and I can listen to the new experience that they have as well. I can hear how my friends are suffering right now. I have a friend who's an auditor. I have a friend who does auditing. I don't know if he's an auditor, my bad boy. Bro, my bad Fred. But he's dying right now. And just hearing his stories, man, if I sorry, my phone vibrated. But that's stuff that I even though I can't relate on a deeper level, that's that's a story I like to hear. Like, like I'm learning more about them, even though I wasn't there to physically experience it with them. Because again, this goes both ways. I don't have the same interests as some of my friends do. I don't like playing uh, team fight tactics (TFT), but I'm cool with listening about it. Like, shoot, that's your favorite thing. I can see the passion in your eyes. Talk about it. Because again, these are the people who you can tell your stories to, tell your experiences about. So you should be okay listening to their experiences. So that's a mindset that I'm trying to get into. That because we're spending this time apart, it's okay. I'm alone, but I should not feel lonely. But if you are feeling lonely, just know that that feeling is valid. Because again, this industry, this field that us creatives have, whether it's being a photographer, videographer, podcast host, whatever it may be, it's a lonely road because not every again they don't see the behind the scenes, they don't see the struggle that you're doing. Even if you have a partner, even if you have someone who's with you side by side supporting you, like they don't understand the feeling that you're going through. And I think that's what separates good those creatives who make it versus those that don't. They they don't they let the feeling of loneliness like consume them, and they end up just saying, "You know what? I'm done. This sucks. I don't want to spend 8 hours looking through a monitor editing photos. I don't want to do that. I want to spend it with my friends. We'll talk about whatever. Could be anime, could be hiking, stuff that I don't necessarily have a passion for like they do, but I'd rather be with them listening to that than being behind a monitor." And that's fine. That's if that's what you want to do, then do it. But I think if you persist and you don't let this wallow inside, eventually you're going to find people who want to experience this with you, and they can enter your natural circle organically, and you won't feel so lonely anymore. This episode is very full of cliches, and I'm just a man with a dream of making podcasting his career, making being a creative his career. But I have no major credibility other than being a former anchor. But one thing I can say is because I have no I'm not a celebrity. I'm not someone with all of this accolades. I'm your average Joe. I'm not here. I said it on I think my second episode. I'm not here to inspire because I think that's kind of cringe if I say that. I think I'm here to relate to you guys, to make you guys feel like, you know, different ship but same ocean. We're all going through it. Different. Usually, I use this saying as a negative connotation, but different different book, same story. We're all unique. Don't get me wrong, but this feeling that you're feeling, that I'm feeling, it's okay, and we're all going through it. We all go through it if we haven't gone through it already. And so, hopefully, for those of you watching or listening, you find some relatability to this episode. It's nice to talk to you in such an intimate fashion. You being the camera that I'm looking at so intently, thinking that it's talking back to me. It's it's a nice change of pace, and I appreciate you guys spending your time, whether it's getting ready for the workday, putting on makeup, or on your drive to work, or if you're listening to me in the shower. It's kind of weird, but hello. Don't forget to scrub behind the ears. See, I'm low key crazy. I'm laughing to myself. But thank you for listening to this podcast and to me ramble. And just know you're not alone in whatever you're feeling, whether it's being depressed or feeling lonely. Just accept that feeling. Let uh shoot. Let it feel it and move and try your best to move forward. Because I think that's again what really separates those that make it in this field, this creative field, versus those that don't. And you can apply this too if you're not of if you don't think that you're a creative. I like to think everyone's creative in their own way. But you can take this if you're a person who just has a regular 9 to 5, it's the same thing. Just know that there are ways to move forward in life. It's not about changing the world. It's about changing your perspective of the world. That's really cliche. That's really lame. But that's something I really resonate with. I think I stole that from Tom DeLonge from Blink 182 and Angels and Airwaves. But yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And again, if you like to support the channel, if you like to support this podcast, please, Amazon links down below. If you want royalty free music, Epidemic Sound, I use them a lot. Link down below. Support me, hire me. I need money. I'm not ashamed to say that. I think we all need money. Okay, enough begging. If you're tuned in this far, you're a real trooper. But oh my gosh. Un- Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay cherry chalu. Adios.